Most welcome to the first video in another series, and I'm trying to put things in a little better order on my channel. So I will now put some videos under the same playlist, because here we are going to study Black's rook exchange sacrifice on Charlie 3 in the Sicilian defense out of some different aspects. So I'm still working on it, so I don't know how many videos there will be in this series, but yeah, let's say a handful or something. And for you, we need to read the moves and the video timestamp so that you know when a certain position is discussed in the video. Please click on the description, and yeah, there you have it written down. So here we go, and why not put the first move on the board? White plays Echo 4, and here I put the first timestamp. Echo 4, record mark. So, and we are now back in year 2000. We are in Poland, in the beautiful little mountain city Zakopane. We play the Olympiad for visually impaired. And I play in the first board for Sweden, since I have done that since 1985. We are playing the Slav Republic, or Republic of Slovakia. And I am black against the guy Jan Holestak. Decent chess player, I would say, about 2000. So it's a bit surprising that he goes down as he did in the game. But at the same time, this also shows that today's topic, although I would say that many already would know what I am going to demonstrate, was not known by my opponent, and there are other pretty strong players who doesn't know either. So sometimes you take some things for granted, you think that everyone should know it, and you're surprised when someone doesn't. At the same time, I think many times people say, oh, this Magnusson, I really think that he should know those things, but yeah, obviously, yeah, doesn't have such a broad chess knowledge. Yeah, anyway, Black, which was me, played Charlie 5. Charlie 5. And this has been one of my major defenses for very, very long time. This is the Sicilian defense, but I have also played the French defense with Echo 6 from time to time. I have more often played Qe1 pawn to Charlie 6, even the so-called modern defense with pawn to Golf 6. But even the center counter or the Scandinavian defense with Delta 5. I have played very many openings, actually Echo 5 also, Delta 6. So I have played most things in the first move as Black against Echo 4. White goes on, Knight Foxtrot 3, Knight to Foxtrot 3. And this indicates that probably White will play pawn to Delta 4 soon, and then capture with a knight if there will be an exchange on Delta 4. Black goes on with Delta 6. Delta 6. So Black tries to get control over the Echo 5 and Delta 4 squares. And the idea of, or one of the ideas, but one of the most prominent, I would say, of the Sicilian defense is that rather than occupying the center immediately with the Echo and Delta pawns, Black does it with the Charlie pawn in order to exchange a pawn on Charlie for a pawn that is more centralized, the one on Delta. So, and that will, in the long term, it might secure Black more control in the center. So we will see how it develops. White plays Delta 4. Delta 4. Now we are talking about the open Sicilian. And here we get the exchange I mentioned already. Charlie takes delta 4. Charlie takes delta 4. And white recaptures with the knight. Knight takes delta 4. Knight takes delta 4. So now we see that black has echo and delta pawns, whereas white has echo pawn. If you just look on the two most central files, the delta and echo files. But of course, if white can maybe play Charlie 4 soon with a pawn, then white can anyway establish stronghold of the center. Because of this, black now threatens the white pawn on echo 4 by playing knight foxtrot 6. Knight foxtrot 6. And the reason why I mentioned this in connection with white's pawn on Charlie, that is that if white develops the knight to Charlie 3, then the white's Charlie pawn is blocked, which actually then stops white from occupying more space in the center with the pawns. And that is exactly what happens. White plays knight to Charlie 3. This is also, I guess, the best move for white, so there's nothing wrong with it at all. Knight to Charlie 3. And we have come to a crossroads. The move I played in the game we will take last. For many years I have played the dragon defense, the dragon variation in Sicilian defense, that is playing pawn to golf 6. And then the pawns from hotel 7, golf 6, foxtrot 7, echo 7, and delta 6 resembles a dragon. That is why it has got its name. And then, because of this one, I've also sometimes spoken of the bishop that can come out on golf 7 as the fire-sneezing dragon bishop, which can really be a power in many positions, especially as it points down to the white queen side. But golf 6 was not played. We have echo 6 as another attempt. That is the called Scheveningen variation after the Dutch city with the same name. I apologize for mispronouncing Scheveningen. Only the Dutch can pronounce it well, I think, and the Flemish in Belgium, of course. Echo 6 is also a good move. We have knight to Charlie 6. That is the classical variation of the Sicilian defense. Another variation that has become a bit more topical last years is that black plays bishop delta 7 here, develops a piece, and keeps the options open how to develop the rest of the pieces, if or not moving the golf pawn or echo pawn, and so on. That is especially for those players who are have a good understanding of the Sicilian dynamics, but don't want to study so much of theory that, for example, the line that we will see in the game requires. Because I played the move that is probably the best, but also one of the most demanding to play. Pawn alpha 6. Pawn alpha 6. And now we reach the so-called Najdorf variation of the Sicilian defense, named after Miguel Najdorf. Najdorf, he spent a lot of time, I think he was from Argentina originally, at least he spent most of his life there, a real expert on those positions. And the idea behind alpha 6 is that black wants to play echo 5, pushing the echo pawn 2 steps in the center, but against echo 5 directly without alpha 6, then white is often held to get the advantage by bishop bravo 5 check. So black wants to stop this. As I am translating this the 7th of April 2024, it is worth mentioning that just, was it 4 days ago, in the candidates tournament, the male candidates tournament in Toronto, Hikaru Nakamura's black against Fabiano Caruana. The world number 2 is Caruana, and the world number 3 is Nakamura. Then Nakamura surprised Caruana and the rest of the world by pushing Echo 5 directly without Alpha 6, and actually kept things together to a draw. And so Echo 5 is maybe not such a bad move as people often has thought it to be, but nevertheless Alpha 6 is a far more popular move. Here white has many different options. The most aggressive move, I would say, is bishop to Golf 5, and we have others. Bishop to Echo 3, followed by the idea of Foxtrot 3, expansion on the king side for white, by Golf 4, Hotel 4, and so on. We have also the fashionable pawn to Hotel 3, which when I started to play the Najdorf in the 1980s, it was very rare, but now it has been one of the most common lines for white against the Najdorf. We also have a move that Fischer often played. He actually played Hotel 3 once or twice, Fischer also, but Bishop Charlie 4 is very interesting, often employed by Fischer. But white goes for maybe the more positional, little common move that I also have played many times. Bishop to Echo 2. Bishop to Echo 2. Here white often goes for castle's king side and wants to then maybe expand on the queen side, gaining space, play for, aiming for a long positional fight with a slight edge. But you will see, he actually goes for the king side castling even in this game, but it will not be such a peaceful game. Black played pawn to Echo 5 here, pawn to Echo 5. That is according to the traditional idea of the Najdorf defense, but it is worth mentioning that experts like Garry Kasparov usually did not play Echo 5 but Echo 6, then getting a kind of Scheveningen defense instead. But having the pawn on Echo 5 is the most Najdorf-like move. White moves his knight that is threatened from Delta 4 to Bravo 3. Knight to Bravo 3. Now we can see that black has gained some space in the center. White has a pawn on Echo 4, but black is not worse as a pawn on Echo 5. A disadvantage for black is that he has a pawn on Delta 6, which is on a half-open d-file, and therefore can be subject to be attacked, a target to attack. At the same time, the pawns on Delta 6 and Echo 5, they take control of some very important dark squares in the center, but the pawn on Echo 5, as it can't go back to Echo 6, has left a so-called hole on Delta 5. The Delta 5 pawn is the Delta 5 square is very important, and we will discuss this from different aspects in some different strategical series on this channel in the future. Okay, knight to Bravo 3. Bravo 3 is not a fantastic square, but on Foxtrot 3 it would have stood in the way of the Foxtrot pawn, although both moves are possible. Black plays Bishop to Echo 7. Bishop to Echo 7. Preparing for castles. Sometimes players start with Bishop to Echo 6, but I would say that this is a less flexible move and can be more risky if white plays quick Golf 4 and goes for a kingside expansion. I would recommend that you rather stick to Bishop Echo 7 than Bishop Echo 6 in those positions. White plays castles kingside. Castles kingside. And black does the same, also castles kingside. Castles kingside. Now we have reached a position with many different alternatives. In 1986, I played against at that time reigning world champion Sergei Krylov from Russia. And he played bishop to Golf5, if I remember. I didn't master the positions very well at that time. I was quite good at calculating things. When I was 19, I didn't understand much. Now I calculate this a lot worse than I did at that time, but I understand a bit more also. That was in the World Championship in Moscow 1986. In the same tournament, I also encountered Olav Dobersin from East Germany, and I think he played the same move as we have in this game that we come back to soon. Another common move for white is to play alpha 4 and thereby trying to take space on the queen side. That is a very interesting way of playing. Alpha 4, maybe followed by alpha 5, bishop echo 3, trying to get to grips with the black squares, like Bravo 6, for example. There are many interesting possibilities in this position. White, however, played King Hotel 1. King Hotel 1. So, King Hotel 1 is a very tricky move, because traditionally black has aimed for a quick Bravo 5, playing Bravo 5 here. And as a rule of thumb, one could say that playing Bravo 5 before white has pushed his pawn on Foxtrot 2 steps, Foxtrot 4, that we will see will follow soon in the game, then Bravo 5 can actually be a weakness. White can play Alpha 4, and the opening of the queen side will lead to a better position for white. That was what happened to me in the game against Dobersin in 1986, which I lost after a long battle. So, when in 2000 I hadn't studied chess very actively. I was doing other things. I was working on my doctoral degree in history of religions. But I anyway had my experience from 1986 in my mind. So instead of pushing Bravo 5, I played a bit more tempered move, Bravo 6. Pawn to Bravo 6. Put a record timestamp there. This is still a good move, and it was quite much in fashion even in the year 2000. It was long since I analyzed this position with the chess engine. I don't even remember when I did it. Now, when I prepared for this video, I saw that Stockfish 16.1 also likes moves like pawn to Hotel 6, rook to Echo 8, knight to Charlie 6. And that is a fantastic thing with the chess engines these days, that they come up with ideas that in a way have been abandoned long ago by human, but now the engines can prove that there actually are more ways to play than we previously have been thinking of. Pawn to Bravo 6 simply comes with the idea of putting the bishop on Bravo 7, exerting pressure on Echo 4. White now pushed Foxtrot 4. Foxtrot 4. And this is a bit risky move, I would say. I don't say that it's bad, really bad, but I think it's a little bit dubious. At least it plays into black's hands. The pawn cannot go back, so now Echo 4 needs protection by pieces instead. At the same time, as we see in the game, white has very ambitious ideas of storming on the king side with the pawns, trying to mate me in fewer than 20 moves probably. I continued with bishop to bravo 7, bishop to bravo 7. Now we see that the pawn on echo 4 is attacked both by the knight on foxtrot 6 and the bishop on bravo 7. But that can easily and quite harmoniously be defended by white with the move bishop to foxtrot 3 that was played. Bishop to foxtrot 3. Yeah, I think that is the most natural move. It's not so much to say about it. I continue developing, and the typical Najdorf style, the Najdorf black normally prefers to put the queen's knight on delta 7. So I played knight bravo to delta 7. See, next timestamp. Knight bravo to delta 7. And the idea is that the knight is better placed on delta 7, for example, for the reason that had it been on Charlie 6 instead, the C file would be blocked. Now, with the knight on delta 7, the black rook can go to Charlie 8 and also exert more pressure down the C file. And the knight might in the future jump to Charlie 5, also pressuring echo 4. Here, white plays a very, very dubious move, I would say. Pawn to foxtrot 5. Pawn to foxtrot 5. The idea, of course, is to push golf 4, golf 5, storming my position with the pawns, and then try to open files against my king. But foxtrot 5, it does many things. First, it takes time, and it also decreases the pressure on the black center. For example, if black in the future would like to push delta 5, he doesn't need to bother about the pawn on echo 5. With the pawn on foxtrot 4, that is still there. If black pushed delta 5, white could have played foxtrot takes echo 5. I don't say that that would be impossible to do with the pawn on foxtrot 4 to push delta 5, but it is more complicated. Here there are many moves, but the one I chose is one of the strongest still according to the chess engines. I played rook Charlie 8. Rook to Charlie 8. Yeah, they have reached very, very typical position in those classical variations of the Najdorf. We can expect that black develops his queen to Charlie 7. Sometimes even rook to Charlie 7 comes into question, followed by queen to alpha 8 to exert more pressure down the Charlie file, maybe following up with rook foxtrot to Charlie 8. But yeah, with the queen of alpha 8 we also have more pressure on echo 4. But we don't need to go into such sophistication if white plays as aggressively as he does in this game. He hoists the pirate flag and plays pawn to golf 4. Pawn to golf 4. And this is beyond doubt loosening move. If you have your king on the king side and attack with your pawns like this, it is necessary that you can keep the center closed. Here, it isn't much of a pawn center left. It more or less just consists of the pawn on echo 4. For the moment it is defended by 2 pieces. But yeah, that won't necessarily last for so long. So if you so wish, you can pause the video here and take your time and think what you would play as black. I must say that I didn't take long to think of this move, what I should play, because this, which we come back to later on, I have seen this thematic move in many strong Grandmaster games since I was a kid, so I had internalized it. So I could have played it within 1 second in the Blitz game as well. Maybe I took 2 minutes to think of it in this classical game, but I had built up a kind of database or memory base of games that I remember that helped me to find the move instinctively. And that is one of the aims with my videos also, that you should recognize this game, but also more classic examples of this typical move that now comes. And that is Rook takes Charlie 3. Rook takes Charlie 3. A very strong move, winning on the spot. White, of course, has to capture. Bravo takes Charlie 3. Bravo takes Charlie 3. And now we see that the knight from Charlie 3 has disappeared. Okay. White won a rook, but lost a knight. But now when it follows the next move, which is knight takes echo 4. Knight takes echo 4. The knight on echo 4 is a fantastic piece, of course. And we see now that it is wide open down to the white king. Black has good possibilities and will do attack the white king on the long diagonal from alpha 8 to hotel 1. Moreover, black hasn't sacrificed a lot. A rook, but in return has got a knight and a pawn. This is almost nothing. Black has such a strong position that in many variations black can count on sooner or later to even win the pawn on Charlie 3. I will retell a little story. When I after high school in 1987, in September or something, I think it was, I moved for the time being 3 months, I think it was, to Hungary to play with a super grandmaster, extremely talented player, Andras Adorjan. I spent a lot of time in Hungary between 87 and 1987 to 1990, because of the rich chess life, possibilities to play many tournaments, and if you didn't have so much money, it was also cheaper to live there. If you came from Sweden, the currency helped a lot. And he told me that he didn't learn much from his trainers, but he had one. His name was Barchai, and a very famous grandmaster. And he taught the young Andras that the safest sacrifice you can do is the exchange sacrifice. Because it doesn't take much. Maybe you just get back a pawn and you are about equal. And yeah, I don't remember exactly the reason. It continued a little bit. But Anders also told me that you should not be so scared of sacrificing the exchange. Maybe sacrificing a pawn is more risky. It must be added that that was way back in time from the games of the program, the chess engine AlphaZero. I think chess players on high levels have started to re-evaluate the value of pawns. Nowadays, you more often than earlier sacrifices even pawns for more open files and stuff. We even saw some examples of this in our expositions of overprotection of the Echo5 square against the French defense in the other playlist on this channel. Okay, knight takes Echo 4. Now I threaten to capture on Charlie 3, which would grab a second pawn, which I would consider meaning that black is actually up material rather than down. Then the two connected central pawns, delta and echo, will move forward, and black's pieces will soon take on attacking position close the enemy king. White played queen to echo 1. Queen to echo 1. Protecting the pawn on Charlie 3. Here there are different moves. For example, the direct bishop to hotel 4 would be a very good move here. But a move that is about the same strength is what I actually played, queen to alpha 8. Queen to alpha 8. And this position Stockfish estimates as between 2 and 2.5 pawns better for black. Black is clearly winning this position. We can also see here what I mentioned before has actually been actualized. Black can, if he so wishes, play rook to Charlie 8 and put pressure on Charlie 3. And it's quite tricky for white to defend there. But white continued to develop his pieces. He played bishop to echo 3. Bishop to echo 3. It doesn't help white. White is completely lost. But so this is nor a good nor a bad move, because the game is already over. But only if you have seen the idea that I actually employed, so you can take a pause and think of what you would do here. Black played knight to golf 5. Knight to golf 5. And you can see that the bishop on foxtrot 3 is threatened. And it can not go back, because on golf 2 it will be taken. It can't go to echo 2 or delta 1, because it is pinned in front of the white king on hotel 1, because of the bishop on bravo 7. So it means that the bishop can't escape. So either white has to capture on bravo 7, or the bishop simply is lost. White actually captured. Bishop takes bravo 7 check. Bishop takes bravo 7 check. And black recaptured. Queen takes bravo 7. No, it was not check when white took bravo 7. I'm sorry. Bishop takes bravo 7 and queen takes bravo 7 check. And here white resigned. Only 17 moves after the beginning of the game. Because if white plays king to golf 1, black checkmates with knight to hotel 3. It's checkmate. Yeah, one can say that why, Magnusson, do you at all show this game? White committed some grave mistakes, and yeah, that is true. But as I mentioned, even I myself and you yourself, everyone commits grave mistakes, at least in the eyes of some. if you don't know some details from the beginning, it is more easy to commit such mistakes. So in this case, either overlooking or underestimating the strength of the exchange sacrifice on Charlie 3. And this was nothing I had to think on very much during the game, because I had seen the same idea in a couple of other games. So although it was a classical game, I think I just planned 10 minutes for the entire game that only lasted 17 moves. And in the following videos I will show some of the prior games that had inspired me when I played this game. Thank you for your attention. I hope that you will support my channel, my work, with accessible chess videos by subscribing, liking, and sharing. Thank you so much for your attention.